Let me ask you a question. How long do you think you have spent spooling through archive footage finding the right B-roll? If you're somebody who works on projects like documentaries or YouTube videos, it's probably a hell of a long time. So today I am here to solve your problems. I'm going to show you how our system Imaginario AI can use video AI search to locate exactly the clip you want using only natural language, clip it for you, and then export it into your editing tool. It's super fast and we think it's going to save you a ton of time, so let's go. So this is the Imaginario AI dashboard, or rather this is my Imaginario AI dashboard. I am working on a video project right now about the Sagrada Familia. So I have imported a whole bunch of footage about the Sagrada Familia that the foundation that owns the church has very helpfully provided on their YouTube channel. I've already put together a rough cut, so I know basically what shots I need, so I've kind of got a shot list to work from. So let's go through and search for a nice establishing shot. I think we should start with an aerial shot of the Sagrada Familia. Let's see what we can find. So, results are looking pretty good. You will notice the difference between our AI system and a more traditional labeling system is that you can combine different facets within the search to get more precise results. So in this case, I searched for obviously Sagrada Familia, which it has found, but also an aerial shot. So the system is going to look for things that it recognizes as an aerial shot. So that's a great example. There's another good example. So you can see you can combine different things together to get exactly what you want. So I'm going to select these two and add them to a collection I've created called Sagrada Familia B-roll. That's just going to put everything in the same place and make exporting a little easier. Now, of course, you can't talk about the Sagrada Familia without talking about Barcelona, so I'm also going to need a nice establishing shot to Barcelona. Let's try some slightly different wording and see if the AI can pick up some good results from that as well. So let's try drone shot of Barcelona from above, see what the system returns here. So we got some similar stuff to our first search, which makes sense because an aerial shot can also be a drone shot, but it looks like we've got some new ones. That's a great example there. So it's obviously picked up on the movement of the camera. That could definitely be a drone shot. So we will be using that clip for sure. Let's see what else we found. So similar clip from a slightly different angle, but great nonetheless. So we'll be using that in the project for sure. So again, I'm just going to take both of these results, select them, go up to add to collection, add them to my Sagrada Familia B-roll collection to keep everything nice and tidy. So next we need some shots of the exterior of the Sagrada Familia. So we're going to search for some statues made of stone. Now again, this is a great example of where you can combine information using our AI powered search. So you could just search for statues. I don't know if in this footage there are statues made of anything except for stone, but if there were, it would exclude them from the search. It would only find things made of stone. So you can see there we've got some really, really nice shots of statues. So we'll be using those. Let's see what's in this second clip here. Another statue made of stone, very good. And then third clip, yet more statues, beautiful stuff. So I like the third and the first clip there. So again, they go into the collection. Now, all of the clips that we've collected so far, you'll notice have been 10 seconds long. That's because that's how I've set my search settings. But I know for this next section, there are some kind of rough edits that I need to cover over. So I'm going to punch up the time to 20 seconds to make sure we can find some longer shots to cover up my slightly subpar editing. So, of course, you can't talk about the Sagrada Familia without talking about Antoni Gaudi, the architect. So we're going to search for some footage of him. You'll notice, actually, I typoed his name when I was typing it into the search box there. But again, that's another advantage of an AI system where it will do fuzzy matching rather than one-to-one matching. So let's check out this first clip. We've got a nice picture of Antoni Gaudi there. And in the second clip, we've got, looks like a newspaper article about his unfortunate death. So another thing that our AI system will do is that it will read any words that are on screen. So that search result, it could have been because there's quite a famous picture of Antoni Gaudi within the footage. It could have also read the words Antoni Gaudi within the newspaper and returned it for that reason. Of course, another famous aspect of the Sagrada Familia is that it is still not finished. So we have to talk about it being constructed. So I'm going to search for construction worker. And you can see the system has found a really nice clip there of a plasterer, somebody working on site like that. So that's exactly the perfect clip that I want. So that's going to go in the collection as well. Now, a nice thing about making a video of the Sagrada Familia is that it's such a beautiful building and it's surrounded by the really beautiful Barcelona architecture. So I really want to make a feature of that in this video. So let's try combining a few different search terms and search for cranes with Barcelona in the background to see if we can get one of those really nice aerial shots with the city laid out behind the Sagrada Familia. Let's see what we found. That's looking lovely. That is a perfect shot. That's another perfect shot. So that's a really good example of ways, again, that you can combine different aspects within your search to return exactly the clips you want. So in the collection you go. So that's all the kind of context setting and exterior shots that I need for now. Next, my video is going to move on to talking about the interior of the Sagrada Familia. So, of course, you can't talk about the Sagrada Familia interior without talking about the stained glass windows. So let's try to find some clips of those famous windows. Let's see what we've returned. So that's nice, but it's not the exact windows that I want a shot of. What I'd ideally like is a shot of the really famous tall windows with some kind of sun beaming down across the church. So I'm going to try and get a little bit more specific with my search and see what I can find. And this is another really great example of an AI-based system versus a traditional labeling-based system, because you can really have a conversation with the AI that's embedded in Imaginario. You can try searching lots of different ways to see what it returns. So this clip isn't exactly what I want, although it is close, but actually I've just spotted down below the exact shot that I want, this one. So you can see we've got those really famous tall windows with the sun coming in. So I want to use that clip, but the auto clipping system cut it off just a little bit too early. So if I hit this scissors icon down here, that's going to take me into Clip Studio, and you can see I've got these handles and I can drag the clip to extend it. So this panning shot is exactly the one I want. So I'm just going to isolate that. That is perfect for me. If you haven't been and seen the Sagrada Familia in real life, I would highly recommend it. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to save that clip, and then that will go into my collection as well. And then if I just hit the back button, that's going to take me back to my search results. So yet another aspect of an AI-based system is it's not just taking into account the objects that it can recognize within the footage. It's also taking into account the kind of stylistic elements of the footage as well. So I'd like to get some archive stuff, some nice black and white footage of the Sagrada Familia in here. So let's search for that and see what it comes up with. You can play around with all different kinds of styles here. You could search for time-lapse or stop motion or compilation or anything like that, and it will look at the actual design and editing of the footage and then return the most appropriate result. So this looks perfect to me. That is an old black and white shot of the Sagrada Familia into the collection. And it's not just objects that we can search for. You can also search for actions and people, just about anything in natural language. So let's search for a church congregation to get some nice footage of a service happening within the Sagrada Familia. So the system will understand what the word congregation means, and it will look for footage that matches that description. So these are looking more like tapestries at the moment, but hopefully, yes, there we go. That's a church congregation. So that is another super useful bit of B-roll for my project. So save that into the collection. And now the last shot I need will potentially be the most difficult. So there is an aspect on one of the facades of the Sagrada Familia, which is called the Tree of Life. Kind of looks like a Christmas tree. It's got some birds in it. I really need a shot of that. So I'm going to try to do quite a specific search and see what the system comes up with. To be honest with you, I'll be very surprised if it matches it exactly, but let's see. Let's do Tree of Life on the Sagrada Familia to be as specific as possible and see what search results it comes back with. So this first result looks to be the interior of the church, which is not what I want, although those pillars are designed to look like trees, so it's not a million miles away. So I suspect maybe I'm trying to be a little bit too clever here. So although that is a lovely shot, maybe I'll use that as well. But what I'm going to do is adjust my search settings so I can just return a whole bunch of really short clips so I can see if I get the result I want very quickly. So let's do about 5 seconds there. And then this time I'm just going to search for Tree of Life. I'm going to keep it simple and see what comes back. So this part of the facade is close to the Tree of Life. So, oh, okay, there's an actual tree. So that's a bit of a literal interpretation of it. So close, but not quite what I wanted. But, there it is. Great job. So that is actually the exact shot that I wanted. That's the Tree of Life on the oldest facade of the Sagrada Familia. So that shot is going to go into the collection. Thank you very much. So hopefully you can see how when you're doing this kind of work where you're having to hunt around for specific shots, specific B-roll of specific lengths of very specific objects, this kind of artificial intelligence approach is very, very advantageous because it's not based on labels, which can be really unreliable and really subjective. It's based purely on computer vision, pattern recognition, object recognition, all that kind of stuff. So I mean, shots like this, I'm not even sure how you would begin to label it. You would label it church, you would label it Sagrada Familia. But beyond that, the labels would be purely based on the person's opinion, which then, if you're trying to search through footage that was labeled by someone else, becomes a complete nightmare. Anyway, so I've collected everything I want now. So I'm going to head over to my collections. You can see I've got it all stored in this folder here. I'm going to go to Adobe Premiere Export. That is going to download an XML file containing all of the clips that I have just selected, which then you will need to relink to the original files in Adobe Premiere. And then I'm good to go. I can start layering that onto my rough cut, and my Sagrada Familia video will be finished in no time. So I hope you can see how that's a real time saver for this kind of job. If you are doing jobs like this, please give it a go and let us know what you think. We always love to hear our users' feedback. And in the meantime, happy editing.